Hi there, welcome back to Not Another Budget. I'm Nicole, and on this channel I'm attempting to cash budget my way out of debt and fix several years of financial misbehaviour. So if that's something you're interested in following along with, please don't forget to stick around and check out the other content that I have created for you on this channel. Now, yesterday we left off with a starting balance or a remaining balance of £2,225.54 to look at in January 2024, and this is part of my prepping and getting some form of idea about savings plans, debt sinking, debt snowballs, sinking funds, as I approach my next big income, and that is comprised of £3,681 student loan in both January and April, and then a standard £2,000 a month bursaried income. Those of £2,000, and that's guaranteed. That's without me getting any money for Christmas or any vouchers or selling some things or anything like that. That is just, I know what these numbers are, so we're going to work with the solid numbers. Now, I'd gone through and I'd worked out off this original list, which was pretty much redundant, that actually some things I was going to be able to cover. I might have to tweak them, but I could cover them. Some things I wouldn't be doing at all. And the numbers we are left with is car care of £450, annual car insurance of £500, moving fund of £4,000, Christmas 2024 of £650, gifting 24-25 of £250. Now, covered the annual pet insurance, cat fund, my birthday, annual car insurance, and birthdays remaining, of which it's my mum, my dad's, Father's Day and Mother's Day, all within a 5-month period. And that's a total of £1,360, which is coming off this balance. In doing so, I've actually been able to reduce my monthly bills by £85.54, I believe it was. And that therefore is going to relieve some pressure on my normal income months of standard £2,000 a month income. I was left with a balance of £4,321. My debt snowball standard amount, without me making any extra payments, is £2,271, so I had £44,050 left to play with. My fixed expenses, after having to, being able to take these off a monthly one, are £1,124.46. And because I believe January is a 5-week month, my flexible expenses are a little bit higher and they are £700, but they're not normally going to be that high. It's an extra week of cat food, human food and driving, and a little bit extra personal spending money. That being said, if I do get any spending money for Christmas, I would probably put that in the budget as spending money for me. But that's not guaranteed. Which meant that my total bills all in, I am guesstimating, because there's always going to be variances. I may decide that actually I don't need £250 a month for fuel, for example, and the cat may be pretty well stocked and doesn't need £60 spent. But we don't know that, so we're only going to go with a higher end guesstimation, which means that my monthly fixed and flexible expenses before a debt snowball are £1,824.46 as standard, leaving me a balance of £2,225.54 with these categories left to look at, as well as a debt snowball and potentially needing to move and Januaries and things like that. So this is where we start today's video. Hi, by the way, on this channel I'm attempting to cash budget my way out of debt and fix several years of financial misbehaviour, and if that's something you're interested in, please don't forget to stick around, follow, like, subscribe, do all of those things, and let me know down in the comments below how you're finding this series. This should round up this little two-parter, and I have structured it in this way rather than going, this is what I'm going to do. I wanted to take you through how I reached those numbers, because I know myself, I still class myself as a junior budgeter. I'm only just a year in, and it's not a particular strength of mine, but I know that actually having to try and sit down and work out this list is really daunting if you're not used to doing things like this. So I wanted to be able to show you in the first part how to pull the relevant information, what things you might need to look at and consider, and actually I work by starting off the total amount and subtracting down to zero. Some people start at zero and add up to the total amount. Whatever way works for you is the most important thing. But now we need to look at this balance of £2,225 and what I'm going to do with it. Now, at the minute, my standard debt snowball amount of £271 is not including any extra payments to my guarantor. And by the time my January happens, my confirmed minimums are going to be, in terms of debt balances that are left, Overdale's at £40. And then I have my guarantor. Now, this is without me getting hold of any other debtors, trying to work out actually if the balance is still there, setting up any minimum payment plans or anything like that. That's an unknown, because that's an awful lot of admin that I still have to do, and I may not get it all done in half term. There's a lot there. But these are my standard setup minimums. Now, that's all accounted for at the minute in this debt snowball payment. But this is what I'm going to be left with as a definite month on month. So I need to write this down here for now, because this is a consideration. And I was going to go hardcore up to January to try and chunk down the really small annoying ones, because they have things like, £10 minimum payment set up, £17 minimum payment set up, £15 minimum set up, and actually they're small and annoying and I don't want to have to deal with them. And I know I would be approaching these big ones, which is respectively a balance of, I think by this point, just over £1,000, and then anywhere from £6,000 to £7,000 depending on how much I have paid off up to that point. And where am I at in terms of my standard sinking funds? So we have car care. Well, that's kind of a big one, but I do have AA breakdown cover. I have my annual car insurance, which is covered and sorted. We also have, so there's potentially this one to look at. There's a moving fund, and we are not going to look at gifting 24 or 25 for now. And we are not going to yet look at Christmas 2024 for now. Okay. We're going to need to look at the moving fund, because anyone who has seen my moving kind of looming crisis video, this is when I'm going to have to start making decisions. Now, we can't start applying for most of the vacancies for early careers teachers will start to be applied or advertised from January, February. So that's when I will have an idea of actually, hopefully I can find a school. I will then know the area that I'm staying in. And hopefully I can also know then what I'm needing to do. I do have another month. I have April with a large amount of income as well. But January really is, in my mind, the last point where I can make a significant payment to my debt. So, on that basis, I am hoping and planning for... let's have a look. We are going to go house savings of... Okay, so what do I need to think of? I need to think of my house savings. I need to think of my house savings. I have my guarantor. I have Overdale's. So let's have a look. No, not worth doing. Okay. What I wanted to do there in terms of that quick number was actually, if I pay off Overdale's at just over £1,000, is the £40 a month that I would be getting back going to give me in my budget enough each month so that actually I can put more towards a house saving month on month? No, is the answer. So we won't be paying off Overdale's. In terms of my guarantor, what is the current balance of my guarantor as we film here today in October? So I've paid £400 off already. Where are the right pages? So my current balance for my guarantor is £7,160. If I can pay £300 off in November and £300 a month off in December, That leaves me £6,560 balance on that one. Minus the £100 minimum payment, which is already accounted for in my calculations. That's £6,460. I need to write this down. £6,460 so far, which is the balance for this one. January, February, April, May, June, July. Takes that down to 4,660. If I pay an extra 400, okay. If I make an extra £500 payment in January and April, based on if I can keep up paying as well, £300 a month in then over the following 6 months, January, February, April, May, June, July, that means the guarantor debt will be reduced down to by half from where I started. So at the beginning of September, I started with 7,500. Now let's not forget, we need my guarantor to sign on the dotted line. So there is a lot of impetus here to get this down. I get that it's a lot of money coming out of my month, but if we can get this down, it's a show of good faith, blah, 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 all of that. We've been through that. So what happens if I do this and I do nothing on Overdales? I do £1,500 into house savings, and then that leaves me 225, which is half of the car care. Okay, I like that maths. That maths is good to me. And let's do 1,500. Okay. Overdales we don't make an overpayment to. So then in theory, let's think about this. Because this now brings up another consideration, because providing I have no more small annoying debts to deal with, or certainly none that I can verify as real and exact, and I look at, let's just do another batch of maths now. This is where it starts a problem. It spirals the thing. So my standard debt minimums are going to be still £271. If I take away £40, which is the only confirmed minimum, that's £231, which is can go to my guarantor as a snowvalanche, I think I'm calling it. Which means actually all I need then is £69 from my budget. So £69 from budget to get to £300 a month max. So £340 a month max. Okay, and let's say, for example, my standard bills we've worked out as are £124.46. And then I would go, let's guess, and go £200 a month for petrol. Can I do this? Let's go £160 a month for food. Let's go 40 plus 10 to make 50 for the cat. Let's go 20 for household, 10 for medical, and 120 for my personal spending. So that means then that we are potentially looking at total bills and expenses 1684.46 plus 340. Oh, okay. But I could reduce my personal spending, and I could maybe take a tenner off the cat, so that's not awful. plus £340 minimum means that actually I only at the minute need to find an extra £25 a month. So that can be £225 a month average bill. Average expenses for February and March. Okay, I like that. That's good. So then, if I look at 2024 and 46, if I then look at like very, very quickly glancing ahead, and we will do this in more detail in April or nearer to April. So it's actually going to be 5,860. Okay, so then April preview. Is 5,860. I don't need to take anything off of my... So I don't need to pay for annual pet insurance. I don't need to pay for my birthday. I don't need to pay for a cat fund because hopefully that will just still sit there and not be touched. Annual car insurance won't be needed. Birthdays will come back to. So if I'm just saying 5,860... let's say take 2025, which we've just worked out is an average monthly total all in needed and then to spend without anything extra. It takes me down to 3,835. And that's it at the minute. It's including my standard debt snowball amount of 340. So let's go 3,835. And let's go with, what am I going to go with? Let's have a look. By this point, I should know where I'm living, what I'm doing, where I'm working, how much things could start to be, and £1,500 in the pot as a confirmed amount. And I'm going to be paying extra to my guarantor. So that's 500. Let's put brother's birthday 30, sister's birthday 30, makes it 60. Mum and dad for 2025, let's lower them to 30, 30, 120. Let's make 30, 30, 30, 120. Let's keep Mother's Day and Father's Day at 40 in case we do any activities. So let's take 200 for what I class as gifting 24, 25. Let's take... what have we got left? Car care. £135. And let's go house savings 3,000. Okay. That is a really rough looking ahead, a launching point. Now, I'm going to continue to sell, and just even if I end up staying in the same house, which again, highly unlikely unless I can nail my landlord down to a 1 or 2 year contract to cover my early careers training. We'll see. Lost my train of thought. I'll come back to it. Needing to save, but actually let's get some annoying things out of the way so I can reduce down on my budget for the rest of the year as well. Now, I'm not going to cover Christmas 2024 just yet, but what I will do now that actually come January or come February, I'm not then needing to find an additional £200 or £300 a month as a set income in my budget, because it will have all been accounted for in my Snowball. What I can then start to do is anything extra I earn from selling or destashing or anything like that, which I'm going to do regardless of whether I stay in the house. Thank you, train of thought, for coming back to the station. That then means that actually I can start looking and going, okay, right, there's an extra £50 that I can put in the house. There's an extra £25 that I can put in the house savings. I can put this in there. And once I hopefully have an idea earlier rather than later of what my bills are going to be, if I move, am I not moving, am I staying local, am I going further away, what's happening, I can then start to address that and go, nope, I need a significantly larger pot or not. Someone's being very annoying and beeping their car horn. So I thought of all of that I can consider and take into account. So that is better. It may be that actually I then put pause on my smaller amounts of debts that I don't have anything set up on and I'm not 100% sure of. We'll cross that bridge when I come to it and once I do the admin and know where I'm at for that, because that's also an unknown. And actually overdowns at £40 a month, they can sit there and tick through. And I will still work with the same 340. So that balance can reduce down slowly and quite passively, get the guarantor cleared off and then go whole hog on that at the end. So at the minute I'm still looking at roughly a 2.5 year debt payoff in total. But that would be quicker if I didn't need to have the uncertainty over the house. I could go all in and clear down that debt probably in the next year or 12 months total. But I do need to sort that out, and that's why actually doing this plan now gives me a bit of peace of mind. It's a way as well that I can reduce my monthly outgoings as much as possible, and just give me something to kind of carry on working through and chunking towards as well. It also gives me a bit of notice in terms of next month. Okay, I need to pull X amount from my budget. I think it was £41.85, and if I do so, I can clear, I think that's January or next month. So yeah, next month I could potentially clear AJJB as well, and go from there. And that's not accounting for any extra earnings that I do along the way either, in terms of research, market research, surveys, or selling on Vinted, which I'm going to actively try and do. I hope you found this useful. It's just a bit of a plan, do a bit of financial planning for me, a bit of a two-parter for you. So I hope you found it useful. Yeah, this is not a confirmed thing. It's just more of a guide at the minute, so I know what I'm working towards, and I can also look at getting some prices in and making these numbers a bit more accurate. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a wonderful budgeting week wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you all very soon. Bye bye for now.